Yeah, he's got a baby at home.
Me too.
We good? Okay. Good evening. It's 8:56. I'd like to call the Committee of the Whole for the Village of Cary for May 7th, 2024 to order with roll call, please.
Collier.
Here.
McAlpine. Here. Stefani.
Here.
Walrath.
Here.
Weinhammer. Here.
Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Driving me nuts.
There's nobody here, so we'll open and close unless,
What about these two gentlemen?
I'm sorry, that was really,
Inappropriate.
our firefighters are here. Do they have anything to add? Okay. Go ahead and open and close public comment at 8:57. We have one item on our agenda is a discussion on single-family detached residential impact fee waiver extension discussion. Director Simmons, again, it's all about you tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll try to be brief with this one. As the board recalls, back in 2019, we approved a impact fee waiver to kind of spur development of vacant lots that were already platted within the community that had been sitting vacant for several years. This slide just kind of shows the success of that waiver has had. All the red stars that you see on this image are homes that have been constructed since the time period that the village granted that waiver. The two yellow stars are ones that we actually have current permits applications that have been submitted to the department for. So we've seen, I believe the count is 17 new homes have been constructed with the waivers, which have generated significant new revenue to not just the village, but all the taxing bodies in general. The new EAV growth that has occurred from those constructions is about 1.9 million of total new development in the community. Total to the village directly, we've received about 290,000 in permit fees. That includes water and sewer tap-on fees and actual building permit fees. Currently, the properties that have been developed are generating about 174,000 in taxes annually to all taxing districts. And then total revenue generated from these 17 homes is about 575,000 rounding. So it's new growth that's occurred in the community, new revenue that the village and other taxing bodies have received. And there are still some properties that are left from what we originally identified back in 2019. There are 11 properties that are left that potentially could benefit from an extension of the impact fee waiver, which these ones are going to be more challenging as far as the ones that have been developed. As you can see on the slide, most of them are single lots within existing residential districts. So most of the properties are not actually being marketed for sale, but if the encouraged development of those properties, staff would recommend potentially extending the impact fee waiver, as village board originally approved. So we just want to have a discussion this evening if it's something the board is open to extending that waiver, potentially for another 5 years is option 2 on this slide. Option 3 is to potentially continue that waiver indefinitely. That would only apply to properties that were platted prior to 2019. So any new subdivisions that were to come in, the village for new single-family detached homes would have to still pay those impact fees. Or the first option, which was identified here, is just to allow the existing impact fee waiver to sunset and require any new developments to pay those impact fees. So just wanted to present it for feedback from the board as the waiver currently expires in June this year. So wanted to see if it's something that the board wanted to entertain an extension of that or allowing it to sunset.
From a staff perspective, what's the downside?
The downside of granting the waivers is obviously revenue that does generally come in when a new home is constructed. If you go back and look at this slide, You have kind of the properties on Cimarron Drive, for example, where the first year of those homes being constructed, there's not revenue that's being generated by those homes for the full year time period. So you can see at 105 Cimarron Drive and 81 Cimarron Drive, their items number 14 and 15 in that table, their tax bill is significantly less because they were finished later in the year
Right.
last year. So the impact fee does give the ability for the districts that do collect the fees a kind of an additional shot in the arm, if you will, of revenue that they can then utilize for facilities. So by not having that impact fee assessed, they have to wait, for that tax bill to then reflect the new development. I guess one positive in looking at, these homes is they're generally more infill type homes, and the ones on Cimarron Drive, just looking from a school perspective, they did not generate a large number of students to the districts in the community. So losing out on an impact fee there's not an influx of new students that are coming in that would have a need for those additional funds versus a larger subdivision that has 200 single-family homes that's coming in. You're going to have a larger number of students that are going to be generated by that type of development, so there's more of a need for those impact fees to offset that influx of new students.
Okay, thank you. Any comments?
Could you estimate we have 11 lots you're listed there, the potential amount we would be waiving if we, the potential amount we'd be collecting if we allow the waiver to expire and all 11 of those lots were magically developed in 1 year? What would be the impact fees coming in versus, obviously, we've got the real estate tax information in front of us, but what are those fees so we can kind of take into mind what we're actually waiving?
Sure. So it depends on the type of number of bedrooms that are constructed in a home. So our fees vary depending on a 2-bedroom home versus up to a 5-bedroom home. For example, a 3-bedroom single-family detached home, the impact fee is around $10,500, and that's to the school districts, both elementary and high school, park district, fire, and library districts. They would all collect various fees. So it's roughly $10,500 for a 3-bedroom home, and the highest fee we have is $15,000 for a 4-bedroom home. So the 10 lots, 11 lots, would be about $100,000, $150,000 if they were all developed at one time.
Out of the 17 ones that did get built, what was it? What was the impact of not having the impact fee? Is that why the development most likely happened?
Yeah, I would indicate from the standpoint that those additional fees were not not put on the development that had spurred interest in those sites. Where obviously one of the developers that was here this evening had developed several of these homes. The savings from not having an extra $10,000 on the cost of soft costs for a home did allow those properties to be more priced better for the market here, and then did actually encourage selling them.
Yeah.
$10,000 though on a $500,000 house.
Yeah.
It's a catch-22.
Yeah.
You want to say, is it really going to prohibit the development, or is it not going to? But I look at a property like we have the one on Pearl. That's going to be really hard to develop. It's an
Yeah.
odd-shaped lot, where are we with it? It's a matter of, are we looking to complete, kind of like we were talking about with this development with this other developer here, we're waiving some of the things. Is it more important for us to get these completed? Or it's hard to predict what the market is, right? If there's a huge demand, it's supply and demand. If it's really busy, an impact fee wouldn't matter.
Can you have them like apply for an exception?
It's certainly the impact fees are to be collected at the board's discretion.
Which we have,
So
we
it's certainly
developed
up
all
to
these.
whenever a development comes in, that's a negotiating point from the board's standpoint that we can negotiate those fees for development. They're not a right specifically for the individual taxing districts. We have agreements with them to say that we would collect them as part of
Yeah.
the process, but it's certainly, we have the ability, or the village has the ability to waive the fees as we have done, and can do that on individual projects as well.
So just to clarify what I'm thinking I'm hearing here, we allow this to expire. Somebody comes along and wants to develop one lot, they can apply to have the impact fees waived, and we can decide on a case-by-case basis.
Correct. It's, I guess the issue or stands from a staffing perspective or the discussion with a developer standpoint is if you don't have that certainty from a developer, do they want to come and publicly ask that question to waive the fee versus if they know, as in this case, they knew those fees were waived, it was an easier decision for them to pursue a project as opposed to, having that unknown as far as the impact fees.
Right.
So there's two sides to the coin, obviously,
Yeah.
but I think either way, there certainly are those options that we can require developers to ask for those waivers on an individual basis.
I think that we just witnessed that, though, recently with our developer, was it Ridgefield, on the property on 14? The first came before us and asked for some, not necessarily waivers, but he was asking us for some relief for TIF funds. And it appears to me that that has kind of gone to the wayside. So I don't think I think it could discourage some people from coming on these oddball properties.
Well, what I think we have left out of these 11, they're not even all buildable, truthfully. So we're really not talking about the full impact of
Well, I think
$150,000.
it's proven that it's worked so far. I mean, it's, like Trustee Dudek is in favor of doing, he asked me to relay that in. But he was wondering if that we could notify the property owners that somehow, that this is available. What interest are you having? What are you doing to market your property? Show that there's something on the other side that I'm willing to, we're marketing this, it's for sale. I think half of these, there's not even a for sale sign on.
Is that because they want that, like they own the property and they don't want a neighbor there, they just don't want to sell it? I know that's a case in Lions Ridge where they purchased a property next to their home and they want to keep it.
Yeah. I'm not aware of that, but the ones that we're citing here, they seem to be buildable. They're just infills.
Enclave will tell you they don't want to build.
Yeah.
Say that one more time?
My neighborhood would tell you the 3 lots they don't want them built on, but they're owned by individuals now, just haven't gone for permit. Correct?
Yeah. Just for the examples that are up here, the property on Ann Street that was specifically subdivided to create another parcel. So that property is one that they have wanted to sell in the past. The one on Pearl Street was, they were intending to build 2 homes there, and they built the one to the east of that property, and then just haven't pursued the one in the west lot, but they still intend to do that as well. Ada Street, that property's been vacant for as long as I've known it. It's likely with Chancery Lane, I don't know why that parcel never developed. But the other enclave has 2 of them. There's the one in Lions Ridge that's left. There's another one in Gilgren's estate next to Lions Ridge that there's been interest in the sites that have never developed.
Okay. So what's the consensus here on this?
I'm in agreement with Trustee Dudek. I think it's been successful in the past, and yeah, I'd like to move forward with it.
One, 2 or 3?
I would only do 2. I don't want to
I'm not up for anything indefinitely.
do, I don't like
Don't like
that.
that word.
No, no.
I'm in favor of 2.
I could do
Small amount
2.
of lots.
Agreed.
Stefani?
Sorry, I'm just rereading
Trying
this.
to learn how to read.
Yes. I'm okay with 2, that's fine.
I'd be willing to listen to either one, but honestly, I'll entertain the idea of just letting it expire. But I'm certainly happy to have the discussion and put it in front of us with the option for the board to choose either the expiration or the 5-year. I certainly would not be in favor of anything indefinitely.
Yeah.
I think we have the consensus for 5 years. Is everybody okay with putting that on the next consent agenda?
Yes.
You okay with that, Trustee Walker?
Yeah, I can vote no if I don't like it.
Yeah.
So you gotta tell
Well,
me.
wait, not if
Or
it's
you
on.
can pull it off.
Wait, it's on consent agenda, you would have.
You
to-
can pull it off.
You can pull it off.
You can pull
Okay,
off the
so
consent.
do you want this as an item for separate action?
I would certainly like to discuss it, yeah.
Discuss it
Let's
more.
You put it in consent agenda, I'll probably ask for it to be pulled out.
Let's just do it separately.
We'll put it on separate action?
That's fine.
Okay.
There we
Any
go.
other comments?
good.
All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's 9:11.